Hey traders, David Frost, My Strategic Forecast. You're here for another episode of Common Sense Market Analysis. Today is Wednesday, March 12, 2025. We're looking at a daily chart of the SPY or Spider, which is the proxy for the S&P 500. What do we have on the docket today? Well, let's take the daily chart at face value. We had a bounce, and yesterday we were talking about the fact that we were in an on-time type of situation, so things are panning out the way we described it about 24 hours ago. We'll issue that a quick funny how that works. But what we still are is in the orb now of that full-on lunar eclipse. Remember, we have the 25th anniversary of the March 2000 high in the market. This is an interesting time frame. We're in the orb, meaning just because the lunar eclipse is on Friday doesn't mean the market can't turn Wednesday or Thursday or Monday or Tuesday. We're in the orb. So we're, as they say in the trading parlance, looking for a turn. Maybe we got the turn today. We'll see as the day or days go on. Then in the event we did get a turn today, we're looking for follow through. Below all the moving averages, the trend is in fact your friend. And by the end of the week, we will be keenly interested in where the weekly numbers finish up. Are they going to be below or above the 50-week moving average? Interesting information. Are they going to be below or above the most recent breakout area? Again, will be a piece of interesting information by Friday's close. Certainly no material change on the chart from yesterday, other than the fact that we were looking for a turning point. We were looking for an on-time type of situation for a turn. We got that today. She did what's called a retrace, but finished away from yesterday's lows. That is, as they say in the trading parlance, at least a positive development. As they say in the trading parlance, it's constructive. I'm not sure who made that term up, but we'll use it nonetheless. Constructive. Hey, anybody make money today in the live trading room? I know the short answer. The short answer is abso-freaking-lutely. Let's start with the early notes at 0 dark 30. We had a dead cat bounce situation this morning. We're going to start with the bull pivot coming in around 560.30. Let's begin with that. Here's a 5-minute chart right of the vertical as today's activity. As you can see, we had a big gap up today, but they had what's called a gap and crap situation. Did recover also, but we had some volatility. It was a rodeo tape. Those are like a trader's paradise. We'll get to that later. So what we know about the pivot is above she's bullish, below she's not. As you can see, she got below the pivot, scaled down, tried to get back above the pivot, couldn't really sustain price for very long above the pivot. And the pivot today, might a little higher also, was certainly overhead resistance. We had some numbers above the pivot that if she kept going was an overhead resistance area, would have been a primo short opportunity. We didn't get that chance, but let's look at the flip side situation, getting below 558.40, opening the door for a leg down toward yesterday's closing print. Anybody want to venture a guess whether or not we traded 558.40? Yeah, I would say we did. I would say some profits were made at 558.40, bouncing back up to the pivot. That accounts for what? About 20 S&P handles. Doesn't seem like much on a 5-minute chart. Can't really see 20 handles, but it is 20 handles. Do the mathematics. About one more. Below the flat line, she'll be heading toward what? 553.85. How you doing? You think we traded that one? I was about to wrap up the morning session in the live room, and she was coming down. She, meaning price, was coming down. So I stopped. I waited. I said, we'll just wait to see if this happens. And we all, meaning everybody that wanted to be a participant in this trade, all made money right out of the chute. No heat. She spiked it by a few pennies, ripped it back up in the other direction to where? The pivot. How you doing? All those numbers were laid out at 0 dark 30 before the market even opened for business. It's all in here. It's all in here during the regular session, all the numbers, everything you need to be successful trading the S&P during the trading day. I just wanted to highlight a few things. What I urge you to do is read the notes, pause the video, go back to the chart, and double check the work. There's your 553.85. It's the next number down in the sequence. And once again, how you doing? Granny Smith apples, you like them apples. You can't make this stuff up. If you want to trade in the S&P, if you want to trade the markets during the morning session, this is a place to be. Go ahead and check out the list of markets that we cover each and every day. If you're interested in any of these markets, put some of these numbers on your chart, see what happened when price got there and how they reacted when they did get there. How you doing? What about the small cap space? Camp IWM. Moving on, they're trying, ING in italics, trying to carve out a low. Yesterday, we had a sign and or signal of a trend change. We have an on-time type of situation. And today, we had a rally attempt. She's trying to carve out a bottom. Give it another day or two. We're in what's called an important time frame. Remember, where's she going to finish the week? Above or below that big time breakup candle on the weekly chart. If you got a convergence of moving averages, 200, 100, very important place by Friday's close. We also had a full stack situation around that 200 number. Where's she right now? Around that 200 number. We talked about that long before price got there. Price is there now. It's still important. Anybody remember that? Absolutely. What's going on with the folks down at the transportation department? They're still melting down. Clear up some of the noise, go to the weekly chart. You've got a symmetry situation, but you've also got below all the moving averages, the trend is in fact your friend. Trend is firmly down. Might want to write that down. It's the next number down in the sequence, 14,392. If she hits that, I would expect a bounce from that number, at minimum from an intraday perspective. Write that down, put it on your chart, put it on a sticky note, put it on your hand, put it somewhere. About the Q people, remember yesterday we had an on-time type of situation, sign or signal of a trend change. Today we had a pop-up for $5, 1%, a little more than 1% for the Q people. Just like other markets, she's trying, ING in italics, ing to carve out a low. No material change other than that. This was in line with what we call in the trading parlance expectations. Where's she going to close the week? Above or below the 200-week moving average? That will be a telltale sign. That will be uber important. Anxious to find out what happens by Friday's close. Flat-ish day for the XLF, the financial complex. We're just going to leave it alone. No material change on the chart. We're going to say she's carving, ING, once again, in italics, carving out a low, trying to carve out a low. What's going to be extremely important by the end of the week? This weekly chart, breakup candle low. Where is she right now? Touched it, tested it. Is she going to close above or below that place? Below that place would be a negative connotation. Above that place, she would have tested it, bounced off of it, and that's normal garden variety market behavior if she's going to sustain price or at least bounce off that place, keep that place intact. And then you got Smash Mouth, the SMH. This is again the weekly chart. We're going to be very interested to see how she treats, if she's even down there by the end of the week, that 200 mark, the 1 hour period moving average, the black line, the breakup candle low on the weekly chart. You flip over to the daily chart and you could see big pop up here for $6.30, almost 3% today. Again, on-time type of situation. That worked out. A little bit of a rip higher. We'll see if we get another day of follow-through. This is a pretty good proxy for the tech space as a whole. And if we get follow-through, is this telling us that we're in the midst of a turn in the overall market with the semis as a proxy for the tech space and the tech space as a proxy for other markets leading the way? We'll see how it works out over the next couple of days. Kind of ran through everything I needed to and wanted to rather quickly tonight, but that's okay. We're going to pull the ripcord here right now. On an aside note, have I told you how much I appreciate each and every one of you? Without you, these videos absolutely not possible. That is true and accurate information. I'm David Frost, My Strategic Forecast. Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Common Sense Market Analysis.